Samuel West has spoken publicly about the loss of his beloved mother, the legendary actress Prunella Scales, in a moving and emotional tribute that has touched hearts across Britain. The Fawlty Towers star, known around the world for her portrayal of the sharp-tongued Sybil Fawlty, passed away peacefully at her home in London on October 27, 2025, at the age of 93. Her death came less than a year after the passing of her husband, the distinguished Shakespearean actor Timothy West, ending one of the most enduring love stories in British theatre and television. Their son, Samuel West, known for his role as Siegfried Farnan in All Creatures, Great and Small, shared his heartbreak and gratitude as he reflected on his parents' extraordinary lives and the legacy they left behind. Speaking on BBC Radio 4's Last Word, Samuel described his mother's passing as very sad, saying that the reality of her absence feels heavy as he prepares to perform again. He said he was about to open as Malvolio in the Royal Shakespeare Company's production of Twelfth Night at the Barbican, and that the thought of his parents not being there to see it filled him with deep sadness. "I'm about to open as Malvolio in the RSC's Twelfth Night at the Barbican for Christmas," he said softly. "And the thought that neither of them will see it makes me very sad. But I mean, they'll see it somehow." His words carried the quiet ache of a son who has faced two immense losses within a year. He continued by recalling that the first time he performed the role, it had been shortly after his father's death. "I sort of did it for him," Samuel said. "But the idea that neither of them will see it now makes me very sad." He spoke with tender humor about how people comforted him by saying that his parents were now reunited in heaven. "People said after her death, they'll be reunited in heaven cruising canals," he said, referring to the couple's shared passion for canal journeys. "But actually, knowing my parents, I think they're much more likely to be touring some agitprop play." The remark carried a familiar wit, one that echoed the humor of his mother, whose sharpness and warmth had defined her long and brilliant career. Prunella Scales was one of Britain's most respected actresses. To the world, she was Sybil Fawlty, the quick-witted, sharp-tongued hotelier opposite John Cleese in the BBC's Fawlty Towers. To her colleagues, she was a consummate professional, a woman of intelligence, humility, and grace. Her performances were always layered with emotional depth, and she had the rare gift of making people laugh while revealing something truthful about human nature. Her career spanned nearly 70 years, with memorable roles in theater, film, and television, including An Evening with Queen Victoria, Howard's End, and Hobson's Choice. She received numerous honors throughout her life, including a CBE for her contributions to drama, but she remained modest about her success, describing acting simply as a craft that requires honesty. In her later years, Prunella became equally loved for her appearances on Channel 4's Great Canal Journeys, which she presented with her husband, Timothy West. The series began in 2014 and ran for 5 years, chronicling the couple's adventures exploring canals across the United Kingdom and beyond. Their chemistry, humor, and deep affection for one another made the show a quiet masterpiece of British television. But behind the cameras, their journey carried a deeper emotional weight. Prunella had been diagnosed with vascular dementia in 2013, and though her memory sometimes faltered, her warmth and humor continued to shine through. Samuel spoke about this period with both admiration and tenderness. When they came to do Great Canal Journeys, they'd really been on the canals for 30 years and knew roughly what they were doing, he recalled. It was quite unusual to have older people on television who aren't a focus of either tragedy or comedy, but who were simply being themselves, still exploring, still learning. He remembered talking to his father before filming began. "I told him he'd have to discuss Mum's illness on camera with her so that people saw it wasn't being hidden. He was hesitant at first. He said, 'Really? It's an open secret in the profession.' But I told him, 'Outside the profession, it's a real secret.'" When the first episode aired, the story that Prunella had dementia became front-page news. "It was everywhere," Samuel said. "But the program wasn't about illness. It was about love." He remembered how his father used to joke that the series was about industrial architecture, but everyone who watched it knew it was really a love story, a portrait of devotion between two people who faced life's changes with humor and courage. Prunella's passing was confirmed in a statement released by her sons, Samuel and Joseph West. It read, "Our darling mother, Prunella Scales, died peacefully at home in London yesterday. She was 93. Although dementia forced her retirement from a remarkable acting career of nearly 70 years, she continued to live at home. She was watching Fawlty Towers the day before she died. Prue was married to Timothy West for 61 years. He died in November 2024. She is survived by 2 sons and 1 stepdaughter, 7 grandchildren, and 4 great-grandchildren. We would like to thank all those who gave Prue such wonderful care at the end of her life. Her last days were comfortable, contented, and surrounded by love." Those words reflected the same peace and gratitude that had defined the family for decades. Even in her final days, Prunella was surrounded by the laughter and love that had always been central to her life. Friends described her as gentle and witty, with an ability to find humor in the smallest details. Her family ensured that she remained in familiar surroundings, comfortable and cared for until the end. Prunella's openness about her illness became an inspiration to many families living with dementia. By continuing to appear on Great Canal journeys after her diagnosis, she and Timothy helped change the way people viewed aging and memory loss. Their willingness to share their experience gave hope and dignity to others facing similar challenges. Viewers saw not only the difficulty of the condition, but also the enduring love between them. It was this honesty that made the show so moving. They never asked for pity. They simply lived together, one journey at a time. For Samuel West, his parents' relationship was a living example of art and love intertwined. Their partnership shaped his own understanding of acting and truth. "They taught me that acting isn't about showing off," he once said. "It's about revealing truth. And truth can be funny, painful, or beautiful, often all at once." That philosophy can be traced directly back to his mother, whose career was defined by that same authenticity. Whether playing royalty, housewives, or comedic foils, she brought dignity and emotional honesty to every role. Prunella's influence extended far beyond her work. Born in Surrey, she trained at the Old Vic Theatre School and quickly built a reputation as one of the country's most talented young performers. Her command of language and her ability to move effortlessly between comedy and tragedy made her a fixture on stage and screen. Yet she never sought celebrity. Her focus was always on the craft itself. Her performances were intelligent, nuanced, and timeless. Her marriage to Timothy West became one of the most admired partnerships in British culture. Together, they raised a family that carried forward their creative spirit. Samuel and his brother Joseph followed their parents into the arts, while their home was filled with conversation, books, and laughter. Those who knew them often said that to visit the West household was to feel part of a theater company, where stories were always being told and everyone was welcome. As Samuel prepares to take the stage once again, his words about his parents reveal both sorrow and strength. "The idea that neither of them will see it makes me very sad," he said. "But they'll see it somehow." It is a sentiment that captures both his grief and his faith in the lasting presence of love. In his performances, as in his memories, his parents live on. Prunella Scales's passing is the close of a remarkable chapter in British entertainment, but her legacy endures in every performance she gave and every person she inspired. She showed that comedy could have heart, that aging could have grace, and that love could outlast even memory itself. To millions, she will always be Sybil Fawlty, the quick-witted, no-nonsense woman who kept the chaos of Fawlty Towers from collapsing completely. To her family, she was a mother, a wife, and a woman of endless warmth. Her son's tribute stands as a reflection of everything she represented: honesty, humor, and humanity. Through his words, we are reminded that a life lived with passion and kindness never truly ends. And as Samuel West steps into the spotlight once more, he carries with him not only his talent, but the spirit of two remarkable parents whose lives together shaped the heart of British theatre. In the quiet moments before the curtain rises, he will surely think of them, his mother's laugh, his father's strength, and the long shared journey that defined them both. And somewhere, perhaps in spirit, they will be watching, smiling and proud, their love still flowing like the canals they once sailed together.